somewhere, hidden in the heart of an ancient temple, deep within a forgotten tomb, or concealed behind layers of secrecy in an old manuscript, there exists a door unlike any other, sealed not by locks or chains, but by something far more enigmatic, a force beyond time, being a reason, perhaps being even our understanding. It is said that this door holds the answers to questions humanity has long forgotten how to ask. Some believe it is a gateway to lost knowledge, a chamber of unspeakable power, or even a passage to another realm. Others whisper that those who attempt to open it disappear without a trace, as if swallowed by the void itself. But here's the question: what if this door is not just a physical structure hidden in some ancient ruin? What if it is something far closer than we realize? Throughout history, myths and legends have spoken of doors that cannot be opened. The sealed chamber beneath the Great Sphinx, the Padmanabhaswamy Temple's final vault, the forgotten gates in long-lost civilizations. But perhaps these are more than mere physical barriers. Perhaps they are symbols of a deeper mystery, one that has been staring us in the face all along. What if you have already encountered such a door? What if it exists not in some distant temple, but within your own consciousness? A threshold you have stood before countless times, never realizing that you alone hold the key. Tonight, we will embark on a journey through history, through philosophy, through the very fabric of existence itself. We will uncover the truth behind the doors that remain closed, and why they're so fiercely guarded. Most importantly, we will explore what it takes to finally open them. But be warned, once a door is opened, it cannot be closed. Are you ready? Throughout the annals of history, there have always been doors that could not or should not be opened. Some were sealed by human hands, hidden away by secret orders, kings, and priesthoods who feared what lay beyond it. Others seemed to be locked by the very fabric of reality itself, resisting every attempt to breach them. One such legend speaks of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple in India. This ancient door, adorned with the insignia of a Naga, a cosmic serpent, is said to be impenetrable. Myths claim that it is sealed by an ancient mantra, one that no living soul can replicate. Attempts to force it open have led to strange misfortunes, accidents, and even death. Some believe that behind this door lies a wealth beyond measure, while others whisper that it holds something far more dangerous, something that was never meant to be disturbed. And then, there is the sealed chamber beneath the Great Sphinx of Giza, rumored to contain the lost records of Atlantis. Ancient Egyptian texts speak of a hall of records, a place where all the wisdom of past civilizations was stored. But despite countless theories, excavations, and secret expeditions, no one has ever truly confirmed its existence. Could it be that this chamber is not meant to be found? That it is locked, not by stone or steel, but by something far more complex? These stories are not just isolated myths. They follow a pattern seen throughout history. The tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, remains untouched due to the lethal rivers of mercury set to flow within it. The seven gates of Guina, believed by voodoo practitioners to be a spiritual gateway to the underworld, remain an enigma. What if these are not just physical places? What if they represent something much deeper, something hidden, not just in the world, but within the human psyche? Philosophers and mystics have long spoken of a hidden threshold, a barrier within consciousness that few ever cross. Some call it the veil, the point at which reality, as we know it, begins to unravel. To the alchemists of old, this was the moment of transformation, the final test before enlightenment. To the mystery schools of Egypt and Greece, it was the final initiation, the crossing from mortal understanding to divine wisdom. But this threshold is guarded, just like the ancient doors. Why? Because some knowledge is not meant for the unprepared. To step beyond it is to shatter illusions, to risk losing oneself entirely. Perhaps this is why these doors remain closed, because opening them is not simply about force or persistence. It is about worthiness. Could it be that the key was never physical at all, but something within us? If the doors of ancient legend are more than just physical barriers, if they are symbols of something deeper, then we must ask, what is truly being locked away? Imagine for a moment that reality itself is structured like a vast temple, filled with countless doors. Some are open, leading to places we know and understand. Others remain shut, inaccessible to the uninitiated. But every so often, throughout history, an individual appears who finds a way beyond these barriers. Mystics, sages, and seekers who claim to have seen beyond the veil, to have stepped into realms of knowledge that others cannot even perceive. Could it be that these so-called mysterious doors are not just found in temples or tombs, but within the mind itself? Across spiritual traditions, we find repeated references to a hidden threshold of awareness, a point beyond which ordinary perception cannot pass. The Tibetan Buddhists call it the bardo, a state between life, death, and rebirth. The Hermeticists speak of the Liman, the dividing line between the material and the immaterial. In Kabbalah, it is the Diyayat, the hidden sphere of knowledge that bridges the known and the unknowable. These traditions suggest that the greatest doors are not found in the world around us, but within our own consciousness. And just like the sealed vaults of history, these doors cannot be forced open. They require something more, a shift in perception, an unlocking of awareness itself. This is where the ancient concept of the guardian of the threshold comes into play. Throughout esoteric teachings, there is an idea that before one can step into higher knowledge, they must confront a gatekeeper of force that ensures only the worthy may pass. This guardian is not a literal being, but a manifestation of one's own limitations, fears, and unresolved truths. In Jungian psychology, this would be the shadow self, the part of us that holds our hidden doubts, traumas, and suppressed desires. To open the door, one must first face this guardian. And here lies the great paradox: thing preventing you from opening the door is yourself. It is why so many seekers fail, why so many temples remain closed, why the ancient vaults and their secrets are left untouched. Because the greatest knowledge is not simply given, it must be earned. But how does one prove themselves worthy? That is where the journey truly begins. If the key to opening these mysterious doors lies within us, then the question is no longer where to find them, but how to pass through them. Throughout the ages, secret societies, mystical orders, and spiritual traditions have spoken of initiation, a process of transformation that grants access to hidden realms of knowledge. But initiation is never easy. It is not simply a matter of gaining information. It is a complete restructuring of the self. This is the first great truth of the locked door. It does not open to those who seek it with force, curiosity, or greed. It opens only to those who have become something more than they were before. Ancient mystery schools understood this well. In the rites of Eleusis, initiates were led through a series of cryptic rituals, culminating in a final revelation only so profound that it was said to erase the fear of death itself. The Hermeticists spoke of the great work, the alchemical transmutation not of metal, but of the soul. In Taoist traditions, the golden elixir was not a physical substance, but an internal awakening. And the soul, we arrive at a revelation that changes everything. The door is not locked. You are. Consider the Padmanabha Swami temple's forbidden vault, said to be sealed by a mantra no one can replicate. What if that mantra is not a sound, but a state of bygone that only the truly enlightened can embody? What if the chamber beneath the Sphinx is not inaccessible due to stone and sand, but because humanity has not yet reached the level of consciousness required to enter? What if every great mystery, every hidden truth, is not kept from us by an external force, but by our own unreadiness to perceive it? This explains why so many who chase after secrets, occultists who seek power, treasure hunters who seek riches, scholars who seek facts often find nothing at all. They search with their hands, but the door requires something else entirely. This is why the guardian of the threshold exists, not as a punishment, but as a test. To pass through the door is not about knowing the right words, having the right tools, or even being in the right place. It is about becoming the right person, knowing who is prepared for what lies beyond. And so we return to the question, how does one open the door? The answer is both terrifying and liberating. You must first open yourself. But what does that truly mean?
If the door is not an object, but a threshold within us, if the key is not a thing, but a state of being, then how do we prepare ourselves to open it? The ancient initiates did not rely on external tools alone. They understood that the greatest transformation occurs within. Every esoteric tradition, from the Hermetic schools of Egypt to the Zen masters of the East, has laid out a path for crossing this threshold. While the methods vary, the essence remains the same. Here are 3 foundational practices that can help unlock the door within you. 1. The art of stillness, mastering the mind before one can open any door. They must first learn to see clearly, but most people walk through life in a fog of distractions, conditioned thoughts, and unconscious fears. The first step in any initiation is silence, not just external, but internal. Try this: find a place of absolute stillness, a room, a forest, anywhere you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and listen, not to the outside world, but to the subtle movements of your mind. Observe your thoughts as if they belong to someone else. Do not judge them. Do not react, simply watch. With time, you will begin to notice something profound. Beneath the noise, there is a deeper awareness, one that does not think, but simply knows. This is the first glimpse of the mind beyond the threshold. 2. The confrontation, facing the guardian. Every great myth speaks of a moment where the hero must face a monstrous adversary before moving forward. But what if this adversary is not outside of us, but within? The guardian of the threshold is not an external force, it is the accumulation of your unresolved fears, your doubts, your attachments. If you do not face them, they will hold you back, keeping the door shut. To begin this process, ask yourself, what truth am I avoiding? What fear do I refuse to confront? If I had to surrender my greatest attachment, could I? The key to passing this test is not to destroy the guardian, but to integrate it, to acknowledge your fear, your pain, your ego, not as an enemy, but as a part of yourself. The moment you stop running from the guardian, you will realize that it was never keeping you from the door, it was only waiting for you to be ready. 3. The shift, seeing with new eyes. Once you quiet the mind and face the guardian, something incredible happens. Reality itself begins to shift. The ancient mystics spoke of the world as an illusion, a veil drawn over deeper truths. But this veil is not lifted through intellect alone, it is lifted through direct perception. Try this for one entire day. Move through life as if everything is a symbol, a message meant for you to decode. Observe patterns, synchronicities, the subtle way events unfold. Ask yourself, if this were a dream, what would it be trying to tell me? By doing this, you will begin to notice something strange. The world around you responds, patterns emerge, a hidden order reveals itself. The door does not open outward, it opens inward. And when you are ready, when you have stilled the mind, faced the guardian, and seen beyond the veil, you will realize the most shocking truth of all: the door was never locked to begin with. But once you step through it, nothing will ever be the same.
The mysterious door that no one can open has always been there in plain sight, woven into myths, guarded by symbols, whispered about in ancient texts, but it was never a physical barrier. It was never made of stone or sealed with iron. It was made of perception. Every spiritual tradition, every ancient mystery school, every great philosopher has spoken of it in different ways. The Gnostics called it the veil of ignorance. The Taoists spoke of the gateless gate. The Egyptians hid it within the trials of the underworld. And modern seekers, whether they realize it or not, are still searching for it. But now you know the truth. The door is not waiting to be found. It is waiting for you to become someone who can pass through it, to quiet the mind, to face the guardian, to shift your perception. And once you do and you truly step through, you will see the world as it is, not as it was taught to you. You will understand why so many fail, why so few ever reach this threshold, and you will realize the most profound secret of all: there was never a door to begin with. The barriers were illusions. The key was always within you. And the moment you awaken to this truth, you will no longer be someone searching for a hidden path. You will be someone who walks through walls. Now, the question remains, will you take the first step?